While I was gone, I trimmed down the Red Eyes 60 card deck. I was going to do something different if anything Red Eyes related had released in the June or July packs. There weren't any. So I just have to rearrange what I already have. It being that large, it's not really necessary. It's just a gimmick to play some lesser used cards that wouldn't make their way into a smaller deck. But I did learn of some key cards by including more, such as Zoa, Fiendish Beast, and spell card Soul Exchange. Both cards that give this deck a better chance of going second. I even looked into Kaijus. There's a level 7 Dark Kaiju. What are the chances of that? Because you're not always going to have your way and go first all the time and set up all your flare metals and watch your opponent have to deal with them. Sometimes the second turn is given to you, and you must be prepared for that. This deck attempts to balance that kind of chance. It's not always going to get the best. And I do have some opinions to go through after this about going second cards, because there are quite a few cards for going second that are yet to be released, even in the physical game. I'll even go over I would say an old favorite, but it's really in contention right now. Because Super Polymerization does have a lot of similarities to the use of Spellcard Soul Exchange. I'm going to say what I think about Super Polymerization. I've certainly had it used against me plenty of times. Red Eyes. Very vulnerable to that kind of fusion. It pretty much fuses into any one of the common Super Polymerization monsters. So I'll certainly have a thing to say about it, and how it compares to Soul Exchange, and why it has a necessity, also why people certainly don't like it. But first, got a deck to show. What's my first move? I think it's Incoming Machine. Try to get any common cards out of the way. I was going to retrieve the Metal Morph. And what do you say to that? Nothing to say. Then I'll set this. They got something that wants to activate, even in response to me setting a card. Let's get that going. It's a Max C. Well, I can get away with just giving them one draw. They can add a card. Since I don't want to be summoning this turn, I can go with Full Metal. I'll then activate my Red Eyes Insights, sending away Claws. Use that for Red Eyes Spirit. So if things do go awry, I can still use this. So I'm going to attempt to summon the Full Metal Dragon, even if it may not work. Going on, can replace my Wicked Serpent. High spirits. I can't do anything about that. Fallen Albaz, monster mentions it. That's a troll. They must have drawn that. I did a lot of adding. Well, we got Full Metal Dragon. With Metamorph equipped. So what you got there? It's a fusion deployment. I'll let you do that. Okay, I didn't know that had it. Doesn't help the art. The art's just weird. Alright, let's stop that. And we can see what happens next. If it's a tactics, I can make sure they don't get full metal. At the very least. And what I could be doing here is this fusion summons monsters. Remain face quick effect, fusion summon. I get some damage. Yeah, yes. I'll trade in my full metal right now. Maybe I even should have done that before. Actually. Hand or field to summon. Do they still have the Albaz in their hand? They do. Alright, so I'm going to say Flame Swordsman. Flame Swordsman could kill me, though, if I put in an attack position. I'm going to go for it anyway. Fusion or Synchro puts them into. But they can still only summon Fusion because of deployment. Okay, Collegia gets summoned. I'm not versed a lot of the new cards, though. Some of the Sword, Albaz. Fine. It's this thing. Hit the attack and you control a fusion monster, destroy that monster. Okay. You can still only fuse. Yep, so that affects. The Furious Dragon. Pretty sure this thing targets. Yep, one monster, one card. Destroy them. Okay. I mean, you can waste one of the Flame Swordsman's lives, or you can go for the face-down card. They go for the face-down card. I guess I may as well use it then. Good as that. The Metamorph. There's no point, is there? Let's bring back full metal. Because it'd just be destroyed by battle. Now, if this card is destroyed, nothing happens. Alright. Glad to hear it. Another 5 for you. Is there anything terrible they can do during the end phase? Just with this thing? They can send Branded Fusion to the grave. Incredible to the hand. They still have a normal summon. I know it's the end phase, but they still didn't use it. I just drew Red Eyes Black Dragon. Well, considering I can't really summon right now. Oh, now I get Red Eyes Fusion. Oh, I don't have Black Meteor in the graveyard. Can you do a card leaves the extra deck? Summon. Scores also summoned. During the main phase, quick effect, fusion summon. I'm just gonna try to go straight for battle. Though it's gonna warn them that I am, so. Looks like you're gonna be fusing. Or not. I'll use my full metals effect. Ooh, I don't like that they went for that. That's a very strange idea. So why would you not just go for... Yes, I'll continue the main phase. I no longer control a Metal Morph trap, so I can't change their positions. Rough. I don't think... Send the graveyard this turn. Yeah, this card from the graveyard hand. Well, there's just no stopping that. Destroy that, destroy that. I don't think it's worth getting rid of my cards. End phase. That's gonna be some damage. There's also gonna be some damage. They're feeling some heat over there. But now... I could have attributed these two for... For Darkness Metal Dragon, that could summon Metal Claws, and I can get a full metal with its Max Metal Morph back. So they have high spirits in their hand. So it really doesn't matter that thing is summoned. Because they drew that. They drew the Bestial card. First of all, Yuli. How's that? We got the Zero monster on the field. Can I clear attacks? Don't players activate their effects. Alright. Then, let's see, on the field. Now, my Metamorph monsters are cards on level 6. It's using Coming Machine. Add a card. I don't know why I needed a attack floodgate. But I got one anyway. Claws. Anything on that? No. I think I had to set Max Metamorph, but if I lose Max Metamorph, I can't get it back. Because my cards don't work. Metal Claws. Which I need to get to an Xyz monster. Okay. Black Meteor. Let's get Meteor to field. Which one? Summon one lighter dark monster from the grave. Well, it's not like Full Metal's gonna have its effect. The Sunny I removed is back. Red Eye Soul? Yeah, I'll use Red Eye Soul. Red Eye Soul to summon Red Eyes. There's not much of a plan here. I can't get strong enough. And that thing can jump away. I do not have a way of stopping that. I can't attack. Dice can't attack. So it jumps away to get the kiss kills. One will draw and one will destroy. So you can just leave at any time. This is the worst thing I could have possibly had set against me. Yeah, nothing can attack. It has to, I have to summon Flare then. Flare. So I get a second Xyz monster, which would be Volo. And Volo can destroy the Kaiju to give attack to Flare Metal, and Flare Metal can beat this, so it would have to leave. Okay. Then this has to work. Well, might as well just. Here's Red Eye's Black Dragon. Nothing yet? Alright. Destroying that would give Flare 14. Let's summon Volo Phoenix. The Darkest Dragon Doom Rider. Good. Does it matter? Probably not. I mean, what's the... What are you gonna do? This is one that destroys. This is one that draws. You may phase and not control the line. Summon it, yeah. You draw one card. Let's use Volo. Detaching its materials. I'll destroy. Oh, I forgot the Volo can destroy this. Then the Kaiju matches my... I see. Well, I think I have to get rid of it now. This is one of my only chances to. Let's forget about the... Forget about the attack boost. It's not that important. Can I kill this? Let's battle and attack you. Nothing else. Go ahead. Can continue my main phase, but forget it. Oh, Bao is back, and she also ties Flare Metal in attack. A Sprite. Sure. Sprite Jet, fine. They got a lot of monsters. Would this deck use a goddess? I don't think so. I think it matters. If I summon a Full Metal Dragon, they'll tribute that instead. Or link with it instead. So if they summon this thing again and destroys Max Metalmorph, big issue. They do use it. And they get their card back. That's another 11. Yeah, it's 8,000. And they had a Lava Golem. And they're, yeah, and a Bow can also destroy cards. My Metalmorph is gone. I can't think back to anything I could have done different. I mean, letting them keep the prison, or the grave, would only have been a use for them. So I had to destroy that. Flare was the only thing that could possibly threaten them. And the Full Metal Dragon, I don't know why they didn't just attack. Please make... oh my... They could have won, couldn't they? Got nothing to inflict damage? Okay. I get one more chance. At 100 life points. I have a Flare Metal and I can add Red Eyes Fusion hand. I'll add the Red Eyes Fusion since I actually cannot summon this Flare Metal. Red Eyes Fusion. Is this a trap? Activates a card in response to you need the opponent's effect. So summon this card. I think it's in an attack position. Comet. The card is going to be summoned. You can activate the effect if your opponent can 3 more cards. Okay. It looks like there's actually nothing that can stop me from summoning this. Comet with effect. Get as much damage as possible. They're in range. Attack. Attack. I see. Well, then it's all up to Red Eyes Spirit. When does a Bow come back? Is it standby phase? Has to be standby phase, right? So I can use this during the draw phase. Where are you? Soul. Oh, right. Well, that was my only way of winning. There's nothing I could have done about that. All they had to do is attack Flare. Not Flare. This is Comet. Really gates attacks. Not playing around this time. 900 over. You take my Flare and you negate my Graveyard Summon. That was a really bad floodgate. I needed a full metal that could attack. Alright. Best start I've had in 5 duels. Why can't we just do this more often? Maybe we really enjoy ourselves, Red Eyes. It's small world. What are we dealing with? Monarch. Mega Monarch, choose card. Target one monster on the field, destroy it. I've heard some things. Craft. This thing flips up to negates, and some monster flipped up. Place one EC counter. You pay 900 life points to reveal 3 craft. Your opponent randomly picks one. You shuffle the rest into the deck. Sure. pay 900. Fine with that. What fine choices. Banish one random card from your opponent's hand until the end phase. When your opponent activates an effect, because the effect adds a card, you change this card to face down and add an craft. You can reveal this card in your hand, special summon one of them. Well, excuse me, I had to do some reading. But please, activate more craft. Show me more. I hear this deck's really annoying. Like, incredibly annoying. More annoying than Flare, though? Did I even read this thing's pendulum effect? I didn't. Pay 900, over 3. Opponent randomly adds 1. And shuffle the rest of the deck. Is that the same effect? Alright. They haven't actually used a monster yet. They've just put them in the pendulum zones. Tori, and then that one. Annapolis. Ooh, what? Albaz from nowhere? Well, I'm taking that. Why Albaz? Is it Shadow? Or should I banish it? Yeah, I'll try banishing first. Try to keep this. Luckily you reminded me I have Roar. That can go away. It says it has to use itself. You just take damage and nothing more. No Albaz. I've seen plenty of Albaz before. Flip, it changes all the things, and then they can't change their battle positions. And during your turn, if I activate the card to fake, you can change this card to face down or card to attack. So what are you doing exactly? There's only one monster in your hand face down defense. So essentially, I have to I have to summon Full Metal Dragon to stop this thing. I'm not going to do it. Simply not afraid of it. It's the end phase. Alright. Your turn. My turn. Deal this card. That thing needs to flip up. Does it have a way of doing that? What if I took it away? What if I decided to answer the question in that way? Okay. I don't know what that deck was. That was not purely Enneacraft. Shall we? Alright, it's Enya all over. With one Fallen of Albaz. There's some Nibiru in there. There's this thing. The extra deck has... Okay. Mages don't need the normal summon, so Albaz is just a free fuse with the opponent's field. I got a lot of stuff with this hand. Now let's first use Black Meteor. Ooh, maybe I should have... Really, I should have set with Full Metal and summon Claws first. Because then if they did activate something, I can at least have the least amount of draws before I summon Full Metal Dragon. Claws, your effects. Get that max back. Flare. Get Soul to the field. Detach for Red Eyes. Not yet. Wait till Red Eyes is there. Then you can use your Soul effect. The effect of my Soul. It'll take damage equal to Red Eyes Black Dragon. You know, with how my hand is, 2 flares. Made them have to deal with it. Insight, put that. I'll do Rise Spirit in case something happens. I'll leave you off with that. I'm gonna not summon with this one. So just in case, everything's scheduled. What is this? 3,000 attack to my field. Then you can. Didn't have to. Okay. So I'm gonna keep the materials on this. So I'm gonna detach to summon Red Eyes, and in case it gets chained to, I can use Red Eyes Spirit. You know, if this is Ancient Gear, I don't like your chances. Unless you have a board breaker card. It's actually Earth Machine. I recently dueled this physically. It didn't go well for me. But now I'm in a much better spot than I was then. 2 flares. Just burn. Come on. 2 card effects before you gotta get rid of at least one of these. I know you got big monsters. That's not quite enough. Alright, put us in defense. Okay, so it is enough. Battle, you can attack that monster. You can attach that monster to this card. Fan attract, touch material, take 1 earth machine. Why were we playing the defense? Who did that? Is that a... When a charge destroys something, attach the monster. Only use the effect. Attach 1 material, take 1 earth machine, add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Trigger this. Why are we in defense? Who did that? Well, I'm going to summon Red Eyes in attack and see if it goes into defense. Yeah, we're going to defense. It must be one of the ones that's attached to it. Who says that? Face up monsters your opponent controls are changed to defense position, and they also lose 1,000 defense. Apparently, that's how this goes. I can't get out of defense position now. Now Flare is a part of that thing. Well, our burn's been cut in half. Wait, I had a thing I could do. I need to use my Metamorph. They got 2,500. I could win. Supposed to summon whatever your hand. We don't have one apparently. Target machine monster control levels of both monsters come. Alright. Check. You have been checked by my Full Metal Dragon. You can go ahead. Match your levels. You should have attributed the other one. Full Metal negates the effect. And I'm sending a fireball your way. Yeah, that's force you into defense position. Never seen that card. Unless it was just continuous forever. I'm not sure I would have how I would have dealt with that. I would never have been able to attack them. It's a hand that does... It works. I can use the Allure of Darkness. I can use the Red Ice Fusion. They also have passed on their turn. Alright, I had nothing for that. I want to bluff a deck that maybe they would have been afraid of. Let's see. No, let's not be greedy. Let's make sure there's no monster in the grave. Comet. Give its effect. We got something for that. I think I may know what this is. We're gonna special summon it. That thing has an animation. Sender reveals destroy all monster opponent controls. Well, that's no good. That's so bad. Prime Fusion isn't bad, but I also can't summon. I should have just gone with. Just gone with the standard. So I had Black Metal, I had Flame Swordsman. Could have done Metal Claws. I mean, likely would have been a better situation. I think anything would have been better than this. So I gotta somehow live through this. Which isn't going to happen. So I need this Black Metal to be destroyed right away. Destroy this, get Soul. Soul when they special summon. Now I can Metamorph. I can do 5,000 damage because remember I cut my life points with a bluff. I should have just seen if that would have worked. Whatever. What is it that there's somebody? Just Ecclesia. I didn't main phase if I can choose cards, but a Sword Soul or a Fallen of Albaz as a quick effect. Right. And that returns to the field. How's that? I had to prime my fuse. I gotta go Comet, pretty sure. And two of those vanished. Meteor Black Comet Dragon. And effects. I'm not going to wait on it. I waited on Full Metal Dragon before. Not waiting now. Full Metal Dragon. And this is Fang with Chain, yes it is. Fallen of Albaz. We sent to the grave, Red Eyes Black Dragon. Comet's effect goes off. Summon Red Eyes Black Dragon. Nothing on Albaz summon? Alright, I'll use Rise Soul. So here comes the offense. Pretty sure I sent... What's banished? Or... Yeah, I already used my Darkness Metal. So I'll summon Claws. Claws has its effects. Waiting for a Mercurial. This thing's on summon now. Full Metal's effect. Can't destroy Full Metal. After we negate that, we can inflict damage to any one of their 2,500 attack monsters. Could do Flare. Good. You need to get yourself some weaker monsters. I can't beat any of this. I'll set that down. No reason to still be in main phase. During the main phase, quick effect. So I can attack this. Okay. Oh, it's damage step. Oh, man. Not like I could have stopped anything from happening there. I'll equip Fang with Chain. Oh, I should have equipped it to Full Metal. I can attack twice then. No. No. I'll just keep things the way they are. And my turn. And I can't really activate anything without putting their monsters into defense. See how they handle that. If they have the card I'm thinking of, good idea. So is this card treated as Fallen Valvas? It is. As on this card, also you can switch them from the next deck. Let's go with yeah, fire monster, machine. Yeah, I should have already summoned. I'm ready for Fallen of Alvaz. Still have my Metal Dragon. Okay. No one be worried for me. We should worry for my opponent. Alright. Gonna make this quick. I'm already behind schedule because of a power outage. Now the duels, if I can remind myself of what I included in here. It was branded. There's a lot of branded. Luckily, the Metamorph is usually able to handle it pretty well by itself. And it was Live Twin, Evil Twin. Those aren't the same thing. Now, I got very close to winning that, just an attack negation and a revive from the graveyard negate. They both ruined my chances of winning that. I always assume Goddess negates effects in the graveyard, but it negates the summon. Although even if it did negate effects in the graveyard, it would have stopped the Black Meteor. So I had the Rise Fusion to begin with. Then Enneacraft. That was my first game against Enneacraft. It seems like Flair's pretty good against it, considering that they had to pay 900 with their cards in order to actually add their bigger Enneacraft monsters. They also have a card that wasn't released at the time. Or maybe it was. Whenever I played this. It's the Subspace Battle, where they get to add all their monsters because they're 3000 attack. That really doesn't work out against this deck, since I'd be able to add Full Metal Dragon because it beats the 3000 attack monsters. And then I could just keep revealing Metalzoa X, who ties them. And then they just end up all in the deck. So at the end of it, I would just have a Full Metal Dragon. Assuming I didn't draw both of them at that time. And then what's this? This is the Infinitrack Earth Machine. Yeah, can he send the... It's the same effect that Scareclaw has, putting into defense. Need to lose 1,000 defense. Man. Wouldn't have been able to attack, but I do have my burn damage to fall back on. Good thing about Red Eyes, the backup plan. And then the last one was branded again. It was a bit more iffy on this one. Yeah, I did make it through, though. My opponent... Yeah, my opponent surrendered that. This deck did pretty well for itself. Though that's just me saying that. It's still not fantastic. I kept the cards from the 60 card version to make it more acceptable going second. Because if you go second, you're always going to get what you want. So Mastery of Second could be my better option going forward. Of course, there's the Dark Time Wizard Red Eyes. Thinking about making a deck around that if that ever makes its way into my hands. Soul Exchange. I still think it's really good in this deck at removing cards that usually wouldn't be affected by card effects. Some cards are just unaffected. But this is not affecting the monster, it just allows you to tribute using both fields. It's only at 1 though, because I put in the Kaiju, Radiant. Because I kept drawing this in pairs. I could not stop doing that. So you can't draw something in pairs if you only have 1 of it. And so I decided to go with 2 of the Kaiju. Because if I do draw 2 of this, I can give my opponent 1 and then give myself 1. And it's level 7. It's dark. And it's a fiend. So it can be made into Melzo X. So it's just got all the attributes that I could want. The last go and second card is Impulse. I've been using this for a bit. This card is... Yeah, I agree that with people that say that this card is ridiculous. It is. It wins me the duel most of the time that it resolves. Just being able to stop a fusion. Stop any kind of... Because fusion cards especially, because if I play Red Eyes Fusion, I control a card. So even if I don't control anything else, this can be used against it. Yeah, stopping a summon. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using it anymore. I usually don't like cards that are too overbearing. But I was hoping it's not going to be necessary, and I'm gonna be able to find a way to get around using something like this. And I had said earlier that I didn't do anything different because nothing came out to help Red Eyes. And that was true at the time. And you may say it's also still true right now. But the Undying Legion did come out with the rest of the Call of the Haunted deck. And it is a generic level 7. Rank 7, I mean. It takes generic level 7 monsters to make it. And it steals a monster during a opponent's main phase. When they're in attack position, or just from the graveyard. It could have niche use. When I've used the physical version, I pretty much have never had to use this. We'll see what Master Duel has in store for it. So to see more variety. Where it fits in here. Really don't need Panzer Dragon. That was just here in case one of my Metalmorph monsters get banished. Though if that happens, I'm probably in a bad spot anyway. And fusing into this really won't help. It's also a light monster, which would be locked out by this Impulse. I actually only have 2 cards to be locked out by Impulse. There's really no cost to me using this, is there? Dark just has too much stuff that works. Right, I did say in the intro that I would talk more about going second cards. Oh, there's an overframe for this thing? I didn't know that was added. But super polymerization. I was going to compare this to spell card soul exchange. This card is under some contention. You can see it's already limited to 2. For being too oppressive, because you can't react to this thing. Just discard 1 card, and then you get to summon a monster. Now, it's similar to Soul Exchange, because usually you can remove certain cards from your opponent. I mean, you can remove 2 cards from your opponent, usually using Soul Exchange or Super Polymerization. The Super Polymerization has several more applications than this does. If we look at Polymerization, unrespondable, you summon your monster, they lose their monsters. Soul Exchange, first of all, they both require you to have a card in your hand, but Soul Exchange needs you to have a high-level monster that you can tribute summon. So already it's more specific, and most decks are not going to be willing to use a monster like that. Although, because it tributes, it can get over certain monsters that are unaffected by card effects. You know those towers monsters that are unaffected by card effects, you can't super polymerization those. But you can tribute over them, because you're not touching them with this card, you're just giving yourself the ability to tribute them. And this card also has a mirrored effect when it goes to the graveyard. So after it resolves, your opponent also gets to tribute your monsters, though it gives them the protection that they can't be tributed. So your monster can't be tributed, their monster can't be tributed when you summon them with this card. That makes it so this card can only be used on the second turn safely. Because then you don't have any monsters, you use it, you summon a monster, and then they can't tribute your monster, so it's a pretty safe bet. Then going forward, you have to risk them having something in their hand that they can summon, so all the other monsters you have are tributable. So it's got pretty big costs on it. You can't just throw around soul exchanges just to get ahead. Super polymerization, and I do have a clip to a card being added to the hand. I am going to activate Max Metal Morph Mikazuki. It really wasn't up to you to begin with. It's up to Full Metal Dragon to end this. Seriously? You have that too? Yeah, you see that? That was... I was down to 1 monster. I summoned my Full Metal Dragon. And then they just super polymerization it away. I was very behind. They had all the monsters they could have wanted. I just wanted to have my 1 full metal to maybe survive, and super polymerization just quashed that completely. And that comes to 2 reasons. 1, super polymerization doesn't give your opponent any kind of comeback ability the way that Soul Exchange does by allowing your opponent to also apply the effect. Because you don't get to fusion summon a monster after they do. You just lose your monsters and they gain a monster. And some of those super polymerization monsters have some pretty nice effects. Especially the ones that can be summoned off of the Red Eyes monsters. Namely the Predaplant ones. Because every card I have in here is dark. Red Eyes is very vulnerable to super polymerization. And the other thing, probably the biggest thing about super polymerization that makes it into an unfair card rather than just a indomitable one is that it's a quick play spell. Soul Exchange isn't a quick play spell. If it was, I think Soul Exchange would be pretty ridiculous in its own right. But Super Polymerization, a quick play spell. A lot of going second cards fall into this. Because Super Polymerization, if you draw it going first, you can set it. And then while your opponent is vulnerable, sending up their cards, if I'm trying to summon one of my Xyz monsters, I need 2 level 7 Red Eyes on the field. Well, Super Polymerization just turns them into a Starving Venom, and then they're gone. I'm set even more back by going second. So this card just doesn't have the claws to prevent it from being just stacked on top of an already foreboding field. Same goes for a lot of hand trap cards as well. Namely Impulse, because Impulse you can just slap down from the hand as soon as your opponent controls a card. You don't have to set it or anything. And probably one of the main reasons I think this card is ridiculous along with everyone else. Rin Droplet, that's a quick play spell. So there's a lot of nonsense cards that are going around trying to make you go second, trying to make that possible, but they also just help going first. They weigh more in that respect. Though there are some going second cards coming out, I might as well mention those. The favorite of mine is the Mind Mirror Force. It's a trap. But if your opponent controls 5 face-up cards, you can activate it the turn that it's set. And since they have 5 face-up cards, it also makes it unnegatable. Not unrespondable. Not negatable. So you can prepare for it to happen. And 5 face-up cards? That's a very well-established array of cards that your opponent would have to step into it. It's not like Super Polymerization where if I just summon 2 Red Eyes Black Dragons and have to pass on the turn, they can still be Super Polymerized. Well, with my Mirror Force, it has to see that your opponent has a lot of stuff first. And then they also have to walk into it. They have to activate a monster effect during your turn. They have to activate a card that destroys cards, or they have to attack with their highest attack monster. And then it's only unrespondable if they have 5 cards. Or it's not negatable. Not unrespondable. We're not talking about Super Polymerization. So it's a much more balanced card that punishes decks that just take it too far. I can already see it completely destroying a whole synchro spam board. Oh, I'm imagining it in my mind. It's so nice. That's my least favorite kind of deck, if you need to know. And let's see. Oh yeah, right. You also can't attack after you use Mind Mirror Force. You can't attack until the end of the next turn. So it makes it so you can't just win immediately off of that card while your opponent has nothing. You have to wait. Let the game continue. Because that's what we need more of. We need more games that go more than just one turn, and then that's the end. So a lot more fair. What I don't like is this Gallant Thief card. Yeah, this thing's a bit too much. It's the same, pretty much the same as a kaiju, where you tribute your opponent's monsters, except you get the monster. completely turning that whole kaiju thing of you give your opponent a monster, so they still at least have something, and the kaijus are generally high in attack. So it breaks that balance, and it also has a negate effect of its own. And we don't want to turn going second into too much of a powerful state to be in. We like things to be balanced. I think the Gallant Thief card takes things a bit too far in that regard. But then again, I'm usually very poor at telling what a card's power is before seeing it for myself. I usually can't figure it out. Maybe Mind Mirror Force will be the worst card ever. Maybe Gallant Thief is incredibly balanced and I don't know what I'm talking about. Just have to wait and see. See what happens here. Yeah, so let's wrap this up then. Because I have to get this rendered and all that. Because I was hoping to get this done before the next pack came out. Because it looked like the GMX cards were going to come out. And they have. They've come out right now. But the power went out. I had to wait. So, yeah, I just stopped talking and get this done with. GMX should be the next deck I do. I've put it together, at the very least. That's one of the last things I was able to do before the power was gone.